Here's kind of a newer factory here in town. Gestamp. They make sheet metal parts and stuff for cars. I don't know much more about it than that. It doesn't seem to be a favorite place to work for people, and they do a lot of automation here too, so when they're at their busiest, the parking lot's not even full. So we're going to pull out here and go to the right. My shop's down here on the right, and then up at the next corner and turn left is where I went to the high school at, so we'll get that. This building coming up on the right is my old shop, Done Right Auto and RV. We worked on just about anything that would fit in the parking lot. I sold it to a guy that's a commercial landscaper, just a building and property. There's 3.5 acres there. And he does commercial landscaping, highway repair, that kind of thing. So coming up here to the left is the high school that I went to. The airport's there to the right. This here is the football field, soccer field, that kind of thing. I think they're talking about redoing it, although it's way nicer than anything when I went to school. So, but this is the high school. It's still in operation. It's a bit larger than it was when I went there, but yeah, now they've got this whole parking lot on the end for the students. When I went, it was just a small one in the front. This parking lot wasn't there. So anyway, that's the high school, and we're going to move on to the next place here. And yep, that's my parking lot there, that little one right in the front. But we'll move on to the next place, and we'll see you when we get there. Okay, I'm at Laylin Park. When I was a kid, that culvert there used to just be a round metal culvert, and none of the rocks were there. It was a little bit wider here, but I lived right over here. Whoops. Across the street. You can't see the house. Well, you can a little bit from here, but we'll go over to it. But that's where I grew up. As a kid, I used to run here and fish all the time. Didn't really catch anything, goldfish, stuff like that. But, you know, 5, 6 years old, this was quite the fishing hole here. But I'm actually at a park called Laylin Park right now, and there's a lot of history to this park for me as a kid. There's a playground over there. It's changed a little bit over the years, pretty much just as far as toys and stuff. There's a pond actually out behind that too. I don't know how well you can see it, but that pond, other than it was kind of famous for big turtles and stuff when I was a kid. I mean, there used to be some really big turtles in there. Coming over here, don't know if I have my gimbal adjusted quite right. Seems to have a little more movement than I'd like it to have. This building that's up ahead of me here, right over there, when I was young, we'll get up closer to it here, and then I'll start my story. Okay, I'm here at the base of the pond here. Right over there is the building. When I was a kid, that building had walls on it with just a door on each side to get in. And the city maintained it, and they had a big fireplace, which I think the fireplace might still be in there. But it was called the warming house, and They had a crew here with a tractor, and they maintained the ice, and there was public ice skating here, and it was free. Some of us got hurt here and cut. I mean, there was, at times, I mean, I never counted it, but I would guess hundreds of people, you know, a couple, 200-300 out here ice skating and then getting warm in there and hanging out. And it was a great place when I was a kid. Of course, since then, they've eliminated it, you know, lawsuits, things like that. And they've done some things like those wooden docks going out into the water. Those weren't there when I was a kid. But yeah, I ice skated here. I learned how to drink here. Of course, that's probably part of it too. But you can fish here now. It is catch and release. They keep dredging it out, and I hear a pump running, I think, and I see some areas out here in the water. I don't know if you can see them or not, where it looks like it's all aerating there. Anyway, so I think they pump air into it. This pond always had a little bit of a problem with kind of getting stagnant and stuff, and then they clean it out and they restock it. So I think that's what the water's all about. Anyway, we're going to move on from here. Okay, this is where I went to school. Out behind there is a playground and stuff. This end room here is new. I don't mean new like this week, but it wasn't here when I was a kid. Getting a little more movement out of my Ronin here than I would like, but this door right here with that wall right beside it is where the school used to end. And this was one of the doors in, right here. Yeah, that little wall section you see sticking out, that was where it used to end. And this was the elementary school, and again, it wasn't huge. You know, Mason, I think, when I went to school here, I think the population of the whole city was around 5,000. Not positive on that, but I think that's pretty close. And I think, especially like this tree here, I think was here when I was a kid. It's a pretty big tree. I think that one might have still been there. But all of this ahead of me is new. Wasn't here when I was a kid, and I don't know, I think it's probably been here 20 or 25 years, maybe, something like that. But this right here was the end of the old part, right here on this corner that sticks out right over here. And this was the main entrance. In fact, on the other side of this wall right here, right beside the door here, was where my kindergarten class was when I was a kid. But all of this down here is all new. And I'm going to take you down here where Ben's at. Right down here. And show you some of this new part here. Okay, this is a walkway here that was put in when I was young. Not super young, but I actually owned my shop then. This was, I don't know, maybe is there dates on any of these bricks? Where are they at?
Get the small one here, a large one over there.
Oh, here's one of my bricks right there. I don't know how well you can see that. Where's the other one? Oh, and then here's a bigger one that I bought right here. And you can see this isn't very well maintained. There's, I think, another one here. Oh, yep. And then here's one that I had put in for my father right here. And I think there's still one more. And then right here, You see it? Right there is the last one that I got to my mom. Okay, so right over there was the sidewalk with the bricks, and I don't think it took off very well because that's the only section they did. Kind of lame. But when I had to shop there, I bought 4 bricks. Back around the corner here of the building is where the football field used to be for the whole town. Of course, this building wasn't here, and but this whole area back here looks like they've got some soccer stuff now. This was the city football field for the high school. A lot of good old memories here, but there's nothing left of it here. No memories at all from the old football field. Now they got one with artificial turf, and the track's got artificial track, and you know, back then it was just grass and mud when we played football. Even when I was a real small kid, I don't even remember the age, 12, 10, something like that. When we were in Pee Wee football, we even played on this football field. Of course, we didn't use the whole field when we were Pee Wees, but anyway, so this is where I went to kindergarten through 5th grade. Not this part, but the old part. This big old building here is the courthouse. It's been here for a long time. I'm not even going to get the way it's on the corner there. It looks like maybe 1909 or something was when that was built. Not really sure. They got a little bit of a memorial here, and every year at Christmas there's a big Santa statue that's put up right here with a big mailbox for the kids to put their wish list in. But this is the courthouse. There's been a few historic court proceedings here over the years. You know, I don't know how much it's used now. A little bit, I think. There was a movie filmed here, and I think in different places. I never watched the movie. I'm not much into that so much to tell you the exacts of it, but it was a Hugh Jackman movie called Real Steel. Is that right? Real Steel? And that was filmed in this area. I remember seeing the filming crews and stuff up here. So if you watch that movie, I'm sure you're going to see this building. It's got a big peak and a clock on each side. Is it 10 to 2? Well, it's actually right. I remember the big joke about this building when I was a kid was there's a clock up on the tower there on all 4 sides, and when I was younger, none of the sides ever matched. It never held the right time and stuff, and everyone was different, so nobody really looked at it for the time. But yeah, old historic building. I'm not positive, but I think that sign I saw said 1909. So okay, we're going to move on to the next place. This is kind of the town square when I was a kid. You know, other than Ware's, which is way down there on the corner, kind of the aqua colored building and tan. I don't know how well you can see that, but other than that, and then the big tan colored building there right after the alley is Mason State Bank. Other than that, none of these businesses are the same. Well, there is another one here, Keen's. It's kind of a 5 and dime store. They've got just about everything in there. And when I was a kid, the basement, and I think it still is, was full of toys. So that was a pretty popular spot for kids in town. This old brick building here, go right in there, is now a retirement center. But when I was a kid, before I went to it, this used to be the Mason High School right here. It's like 3 stories. It had old wooden hallways, and you just echoed everywhere you went in there. And by the time I was old enough, this was the school that just 6th graders went to, and the new high school, which we showed out there on the way by, had just been built, and that's where 10 through 12 went. And I'll show you where 7 through 9 went in a bit. But yeah, this was kind of an old cool school. I went to it when I was in 6th grade, and back then high-heeled shoes for the guys, you know, the big platform shoes and bell bottoms were in style, so you'd walk around the halls with the wooden floors and stuff, and you know, you'd be on the first floor walking, you'd hear it on the 3rd floor. It just echoed everywhere you walked. But kind of neat. Out behind there was a playground, fenced in, to where we played basketball and, you know, different things like that. So anyway, this is where I went to school in 6th grade. Okay, this is the I think it's called the middle school now. When I went here, it was the junior high school. It was 7th through 9th. I think now it's 6th through 8, I believe, and then 9 through 12 goes to the high school. But I remember when I was a kid, this being built, and we used to come down here while they were building it at night, and we'd pick up all the little, you know, we thought they were coins, but they were all the little slugs that they knock out of electrical boxes and stuff when they put the wiring through, and we'd walk around and pick them up and just get a bucket of them, and we thought we were just as rich as could be. But there's been some additions to this school too. It's a bit bigger now than it was when I went here, but not, you know, I think some stuff out behind there and stuff. But yeah, this is where I went to 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. The street behind me and off to the left right now was Maple Street, and that goes down and crosses Lawton, which is where I grew up. So I just had about a 3 or 4 block walk to school when I went here. But yeah, when I went here, it was a pretty new school. It had only been built for, you know, a few years or so. So anyway, that's where I went to school. Okay, this building here, when I was young, was Mason General Hospital. It's still in urgent care, owned by a bigger hospital now in Lansing, but this was called Mason General, and I was born here in September of 1960. My mom worked here for a while back then. She did a few different jobs, you know, as raising us, but she was, you know, I don't think she was a nurse here as much as I think she worked in the office. I was really, really young then. But yeah, there's no rooms here or anything. It's just all urgent care, and you can do blood work and all that kind of stuff here. But yep, a lot of history here. I spent a week in this hospital when I was, I think, 12 or 13. I got into a dirt bike wreck and cut my head open and did some other things to myself, and I spent a week in the room in here healing. So that was a while ago. This is Bond Park, another park, what would this be, west of where I grew up. Not far, because Mason's not a huge town. But there used to be a baseball diamond on this corner, a baseball diamond on the far corner, and then a baseball diamond over on this corner. And this is where all of the Little League baseball was played, and you know, there'd be nights it was all lit up, and there'd be, you know, a game going on each field. And I never really was into baseball much when I was a kid, so I didn't play, but I did play, you know, football and stuff. So, but yeah, now it's just kind of a, there is I think they play softball over here. I don't know about a league or anything. But then that blue area you see over there is a skate park with all the city's wisdom that they put in, and it might have been popular for a couple years. I don't know how long it's been there now. I'm gonna guess 15 or 20 years. But if you go over there now, and when I say skating, not ice, but roller skates and skateboards and stuff, there's grass growing up through the cement everywhere over there. They don't even use it anymore. So but yeah, this is another little attraction I had when I was a kid. We used to come here and watch baseball games and stuff. So anyway, to the next place. Okay, this is the Presbyterian church where I went until my early adult life, I guess. I haven't been here in a while for different reasons, but there's actually a nursery in the basement. When my mom passed away, she really liked this church, and We donated a bunch of money to the church, and they named a nursery after her. It's really kind of a cool old church, but man, there isn't much parking up here and stuff. But this building here is a newer building. It's called the Hillard Building, and I believe it's just offices and stuff for county workers. But we'll take you out in the country here. This used to be the jail, the Ingham County Jail, and it's been gone for a while. It's outside of town now. But they moved the building when they built this one. Somebody bought it for, I'm thinking, like $1, and they moved it out into the country and set it up. So we'll go out and take a peek at that. But this is the old town here. On this corner store right there, when I was a kid, was a little, I guess like a 5 and dime candy and food store. It was called Tony Simone's. This pub right here used to be Foodlands, which was a food store back then. Used to go up there when I was a kid. And, this building over here, that's my hair salon, going across Bend there. And then beside here is this building here. It used to be Service Master. They moved out recently, but years ago, this was actually the Ford dealer in town. And then across the street, this parking lot here was where they displayed their cars. And then their service department was in the basement of this building. Well, it's all been remodeled since then, but and I'm talking like maybe 40s, 50s in that area. But yeah, here's the parking lot here. This is where they displayed the new cars. You know, it's been a few things since then. When Service Master bought it, they remodeled the building and made it look the way it looks. Well, partly because they had a fire and a lot of it burnt down, and then when they rebuilt, this is what they did. But it was like a lot of the old buildings in Mason. It was just an old brick building. It had hoists and stuff in the basement, and but yeah, there's some old history from Mason. Now, I never saw this as a Ford dealer. This was closed and moved to a different location in town before I was born. So anyway, that's that.